A Retirement Money Guide. Retirement Money Introduction. Some people play it steady all their lives if they have the temperament to stick with one job or business, pay into a retirement savings plan, company pension, or government pension, then get a steady check every month for life when they hit 60 or so. But a lot has changed in terms of steady employment and company pension plans. Company pension plans are pretty well wiped out except for unionized companies, and even then unscrupulous owners clean out the pension fund. You need a certain amount of credits to get a government pension. Many companies have a program where you set up your own retirement savings account and they match it up to a limit every year. Self-employed people have KIAs and other plans. Many people get wiped out one way or another and have to work for life. Many people live modestly and save on their own. Youth is fun. Saving is no fun, but it's a drag to be 55 worrying about money. The lesson is to save for old age. This book is your first step to that end. The final goal of life is financial security, to have enough money to last you the rest of your life without going homeless. The problem in the United States is that if you get really sick or disabled and your medical insurance limits are reached, before the U.S. government's Medicaid program for indigent people can kick in, you have to have exhausted all the assets they know about through public records. So the lesson is, as you age, convert whatever you own in investments, houses, cars, etc. you own into cash, gold, a foreign account, or sign them over to relatives. Otherwise, if you get really sick, you'll spend everything on medical care. Check out 332.024 or HG.179 at the library for books about 401(k)s and retirement savings plans. Chapter 1. A Retirement Money Guide. How to age gracefully financial wise. Longevity planning is mostly about retirement savings plans, retirement housing, long-term healthcare, social security, passing your assets off to your heirs, annuity, second to die insurance for couples, death benefit of life insurance policies, death taxes, estate or inheritance taxes. Let's say you hit 65. All your kids have moved out. The thing is that, materially speaking, you don't need all the stuff you accumulated all your life. You don't even need a big house anymore. Simplify everything. Give most of your stuff away. Sell things you never use, like your boat, your RV, and the extra freezer in your garage. Then sell your house and buy a smaller one, roughly about half the size. What do you really need materially? Most happy people are people who live by their free spirits, as I talk about in my book, A Free Spirit's Search for Enlightenment. It's not about the vanity of trying to impress others. It's about what you do to make yourself happy. If you're really savvy and thrifty, you can move to the cheapest areas to live in, places to retire, websites which I list elsewhere, internationalliving.com, some of them have cost of living indexes. Pick the cheapest places and check them out. Most are down south. There's less heating costs for starters. They can grow vegetables year-round, so they're cheap. You don't need winter clothes, etc. Simplify your money too. Keep it all in either one local bank account if you don't have, or one local account and one investment with a discount brokerage like TD Ameritrade. I've known with a half a dozen or more accounts. They didn't even know how many bank accounts they had. Liquidate everything except for 2 accounts. At this stage in life, start focusing more on health and physical well-being than money and material things. Simplify your money matters. Focus on staying healthy as you age, not with buying expensive, luxury things that can't help your sense of well-being. You don't want to outlive your savings. If you live a long time, like 100 years, you might run out of savings except for your pension, so live frugally now in early retirement. Pension or social security are not really enough to live on. People who work after 65 are often happier than retired people, and they're making extra money too. You could get a part-time job or start a small business like selling something at the weekly local flea market. If you have a skill like accounting, teaching, tutoring, plumbing or website design, you can start a small business and hire yourself out for freelance jobs. Try SBA.gov. Check out my business, self-employment, and job books. Save as much money as you can in a retirement savings plan before you retire. Some older people take on a renter or two in their spare rooms, usually other seniors or students. If you have equity in your home and want cash, check out reverse mortgages. If you collect trinkets or like to sell stuff, try making money on eBay.com. Many older people buy either a duplex, small apartment building or a second house, then rent them out for extra money. Some people mix well with traditional, intergenerational living. You live with your adult children and your grandchildren. You might have a separate apartment in the basement or on the same property. There are now boomerang kids, adult kids who have to live with the parents because they can't make it alone, and grandparents raising grandkids because their children are incompetent parents, hooked on drugs or something. It could happen to anyone. The government helps some grandparents raising grandchildren. They give them a fee as foster parents. A lot of seniors never tell their spouses or heirs what they own. A will is not enough. You should write out everything now and give it to your heirs while explaining it. Get things in joint ownership with your spouse or son/daughters so that when you pass, they take ownership with legal hassles. Do this for a house, car, bank account, etc. Retirement money info. Reassess your life, live more cheaply and enjoy it. If you haven't done it yet, start educating yourself and investing/saving your money. The factors of life are health, economic security, friendship, love, spirituality, and identity, which is about your hobbies and interests. Try to develop an equitable balance in all of them. You don't really need 70% of your working income because you've already bought most of what you need. You've raised your kids. It's time to get rid of most of your stuff and focus on simpler living. Just don't go into debt. Live within your means. Don't take a home equity loan. Don't take risks in the stock market. Now you know the truth that stock investments can easily be trashed. Don't listen to anyone in the finance industry, including the guys on TV. They're always hyping stocks up because they have to. That's their job. If you can afford real estate, buy a second home and rent it out. Don't invest in slick-sounding investments or slick-sounding tax shelters. Create a simple record-keeping system so your family knows where all the paperwork is in case something happens to you. Put it all on a computer disk. Make several back UPS. Save it for free at adrive.com. As an older person, most things like your house should be paid off. You should have very few materialistic needs. It should be easy to live cheaply. If your house is bigger than what you need, sell it. Move into a smaller one. Take inflation into account, so don't buy bonds that yield only a few percentage points interest which are wiped out by inflation. Assemble a conservative mix of stocks, mutual funds, and other investments. Check out master limited partnerships, stocks. Keep a money market account in bond funds for safety and quick cash if you need it. Keep no more than 3 credit cards. Why pay for life insurance which doesn't pay off until you're dead? Save your money on your own and it's there if you need it. Get rid of expensive hobbies. Consider a hobby that generates some money. Get my job and business books. Your mortgage should be paid off by retirement age. The simpler that you live, the simpler your peace of mind. If you live in a big house left over from the days of raising a family, consider selling it for a smaller house, possibly a duplex that will generate money. Sacrifice nostalgia for practicality. Get rid of it if it's a burden. If you're quite poor, contact your local social service agency about food stamps and other help. Seniors get special consideration. If you're a poor senior, the Older Americans Act has many programs like free lunches, respite care, home repair, etc. Call Eldercare Locator at 800-677-1116 for more information. Money books about retirement are at number 332. Retirement Money One-Liners. If you got a big house you don't need, sell it and buy a smaller one. Do estate planning. Who gets the money when you pass? Determine how much money you have. Add up the total value of what you own, known as assets, and subtract the amount of debt you owe, known as liabilities. Pay off debt, if you have any. I don't believe in sitting down and going through all your papers to calculate how much you will need for retirement, except to say save as much as you can now. In general, your living expenses are as follows: housing, mortgage or rent, property taxes, utilities, transportation, car, bus, etc., food, basic furniture, insurance, including health insurance, income tax, healthcare not covered by insurance, i.e., dental, eyewear, clothing, pets, personal hygiene, alimony/child support, pleasure, travel, entertainment, treating yourself, gifts, holidays, other, emergencies. The main rule of retirement planning is that nobody can predict the future, so the way you're thinking about retirement now may not work out that way when you get there. I know 2 guys who ended up depleting their life savings on medical bills before they reached retirement age, then they died just before they were about to collect pension benefits. One of them had built a big house on a lake for his retirement, which he never got to use. Take care of your health now so you will have a life to enjoy retirement. Expect medical expenses to take a piece out of you when you age. Generally, you can never save enough money for retirement. The earlier you retire, the more money you will need. Expect to live longer than your parents because of medical advances and a better standard of living. You don't want to burden your children, so take care of yourself. Nobody really knows what will become of Medicare and Social Security in the future. Don't count on them. Make plans to take care of yourself. Anything could happen to you, like death, divorce, death of spouse, criminal charges, your children get major problems, etc. Once your parents pass on and you take on responsibilities like your own kids, you must realize that your safety net is gone. It's just you now, all by yourself on your own. In a nutshell, save, save, save as much as you can as early as you can, because once you put it away, it compounds, meaning that the interest on the interest constantly builds up to a tidy sum as the years roll on by. Then before you know it, you have got a decent nest egg there. Educate yourself about investments like mutual funds, which are pretty safe, and put your money there. Social Security will give you something but not enough. Educate yourself about investments. Expect to live to an old age and plan for it. Max out your 401(k) and other tax-free retirement investments. Analyze any buyout offered to you. Don't rely on your company or the government. Plan for yourself. Take inflation into account. Don't necessarily plan to retire at 65. Consider part-time work or something else. Don't underestimate future problems like medical bills. Learn about IRAs. If you live in a state that has income taxes, take the time to read the instruction booklet. The IRS says that many people overpay their state income taxes. Seek out creative ways to avoid paying taxes, i.e., learn about them. Don't rely on your company pension plan and the SSA. Save money yourself. Learn about Medicare and Medigap. Consider joining an HMO. If you get divorced, don't forget to plan for the future. After 50, consider finishing with life insurance and saving some money. Believe it or not, if you move from a state with income tax to a state without income tax, 12 states have laws that obligate you to pay taxes on your pension to your old state. California is especially harsh, and they will hunt you down through a collection agency. For help and information, contact Retirees to Eliminate State Income Source Tax of America in Carson City, NV, 701-887-1296. If you're really worried about retirement, the best thing you can do is figure out what really inspires you, then get skilled in that area to either get a job or start a part-time business. I saw a 58-year-old fired TV anchor take a vet tech course to become a veterinarian tech at his age. Read my job and business books. The other big thing is downsize. You would be surprised at all the stuff you accumulated you don't need. All a couple needs is a small 2-bedroom house. You don't have to hang on to the big house you raised your kids in. Sell it. Buy a cheaper house and put the cash in a no-risk money market account. You'll need about 70% of your pre-retirement income to maintain your standard of living when you stop working. Social Security pays the average retiree about 40% of pre-retirement earnings. Call the Social Security Administration at 1-800/772-1213 for a free Personal Earnings and Benefit Estimate Statement, PEBS. Learn about your employer's pension or profit-sharing plan. Check to see what your benefit is worth. Most employers will provide an individual benefit statement if you request one. Before you change jobs, find out what will happen to your pension. Find out if you will be entitled to benefits from your spouse's plan. For a free booklet on private pensions, call the U.S. Department of Labor at 202-219-8776 or go to dol.gov. Contribute to a tax-sheltered savings plan like a 401k. If your employer doesn't offer a retirement plan, suggest that they start one. Simplified plans are available to certain categories of employers. For information on simplified employee pensions, order Internal Revenue Service Publication 590 by calling 1-800/829-3676, irs.gov. You can contribute to an individual retirement account, IRA, and delay paying taxes on investment earnings until retirement age. If you don't have a retirement plan, or are in a plan and earn less than a certain amount, you can also take a tax deduction for your IRA contributions. See IRS Publication 590. You can still invest in your 401k and IRA investments, just don't do it in stocks. Stick with safe investments like government bonds. Do not make early withdrawals or take loans from your retirement accounts because there's a 10% withdrawal penalty plus income tax on the money you withdraw. Don't do it unless you're desperate. Convert your 401k to a rollover IRA so that you can invest in the money in safer investments. The so-called money experts on TV need people to invest in stocks. That's their business. Don't listen. For peace of mind, stay out of stocks. You're too old. Forget about stocks. Live a simple life. If you want to invest in the stock market, keep it simple: index mutual funds and exchange-traded funds/ETFs. All these retirement money advisors are telling you to invest for the long term. They want you to invest in stocks for retirement 10 or more years down the line, but life is right now. Nobody knows what will happen. I say don't take the risk. Live simply right now and save your money simply, not in a way that it could be wiped out in the stock market. A dollar buried in your basement is safer than $3 in the stock market because it's real. If the IRS thinks you owe taxes, they'll just take it from your investment accounts. If your company matches your contributions, keep investing in your 401k to the maximum you can get out of the company per year. Your biggest priority is to pay off your mortgage. If you're not happy with the stocks or funds in an old 401k from a previous employer, roll it over to an IRA and pick new investments. Buy bonds and CDs for 5 years or less because interest rates will probably go up. Keep most of your money in bonds, CDs, or stable value funds if you don't like stock market risk. Know how to get your money from the Social Security Administration, SSA.gov, and your pension plan if you have one. Know all your investments. Know your life insurance and your annuities. State property tax exemption for senior citizens. Check with your city, county, or state property tax department to see if they have a property tax exemption for senior citizens and/or disabled persons. Chapter 2. Aging-related money issues. Power of attorney info. Power of attorney is a written document authorizing another person to act as one's agent or attorney. You give one person the authority to act on someone else's behalf in legal affairs. If you want to have your affairs administered by someone else for whatever reason, for example, if you go south every winter, you simply sign over your rights to a friend or hired professional to do it. Older parents sometimes give power of attorney to one of their children who manages their financial affairs for them. Because they're aging, they know they may become mentally incapacitated at some point in time, so they create a power of attorney to give someone close and trusted the power to make decisions for them. This attorney in fact handles monetary and real estate transactions. You can end the contract by either tearing it up or writing a new one up. For large amounts of money, it's better to get two people to act as joint attorneys in fact. This might keep one from stealing all the money, but it's just as easy for the joint attorneys in fact to steal the money together as a team. Power of attorney is simpler than going to court to get a conservatorship. A power of attorney can be general for several or all of your affairs and give the trustee discretionary powers, or it can be specific, for example, giving someone the power to write and deposit checks on your checking account. A general power of attorney gives the attorney in fact control over everything the person owns. A limited power of attorney gives the attorney in fact control over just the assets specified. Either of these two types of power of attorney can fall into either of these three classes. Durable. The power of attorney stays valid even if the grantor becomes incapacitated. Regular. When the grantor becomes incapacitated, the power of attorney becomes null and void. Springing. The power of attorney springs into effect when a doctor certifies the grantor as incapacitated. A power of attorney is simply a document giving someone else the authority to handle some of your affairs, signed and dated by the both of you, and having a clause about what to do in the event of the creator's death or disability, typically, to terminate it. It should be notarized, although this is not necessary. Banks usually have power of attorney forms for their customers' transactions. If the transfer of real estate is involved, the power of attorney document should be witnessed and recorded, such as with your local county clerk's office, so there will be no problems when your trustee wants to make some real estate transactions. When the power of attorney ends, you should inform all parties involved. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/power_of_attorney. lawguru.com, forms. lawdepot.com, power of attorney forms. legalhelpmate.com, power of attorney forms. Sibling support agreement. When children care for their ailing parents, in order to keep everything clear, they can get together with an elder law attorney and hammer out an agreement as to who does what to help the parent. Some of the factors are: who pays for what bills? Who gets access to the parent's money, real estate, and pension income? Who takes the house over? Who will inherit what? The agreement should give the supporting sibling more of the inheritance than the siblings not helping out, or set aside some of the future inheritance to cover his or her expenses now. The main supporting sibling is the one who takes the dependency tax exclusion and any deductions on their income tax returns. This should be on the agreement. The sibling support agreement can have conditions in it in case of infighting among the siblings. It can have a provision for a specific type of mediation or outright disinherit someone if they are too greedy. With a sibling support agreement, there are no secrets. It's all out in the open. Advancement clause. Competent parents can make up any type of conditional contract they want to disinherit someone if that person causes too much trouble. For example, they may put a provision in that anyone who contests the will be immediately disinherited. Conservatorship proceeding. Conservatorship proceedings are state court adjudications where a conservator is appointed to manage someone's money and act as their guardian. It costs between $3,000 to tens of thousands of dollars. The person who wants to become a conservator does the paperwork for the court, then they have to prove the parent or person is incompetent to make their own decisions by getting doctors and psychiatrists to act as their witnesses. They have to pay these professionals for their time as expert witnesses. They also have to pay the lawyer handling the paperwork. Other interested parties, like siblings and heirs, have to be notified so they can show up and contest it if they want. They can claim that the parent is competent to manage his or her own affairs or try to have themselves named conservator. The court appoints a guardian ad litem who makes a lifestyle plan to protect the incapacitated person. They investigate the situation to see if there is a potential for fraud. This guardian makes the decision on what will happen and earns several $1,000s to do it. That's why conservatorship proceedings aren't very good. You pay several $1,000s and give some outsider the power to make the big family decisions. If the plan is approved, the conservator has limits on how he or she can spend the money. Save on income tax. When you retire, move to a state with no personal income tax like Florida, and while you're checking that out, check out state sales tax. Find the states that have the lowest income tax and state taxes that you would like to live in and pick one. Glossary of terms. Administration. Court-supervised distribution of the probate estate of the deceased. The person who manages this distribution is called the executor if there is a will, or an administrator if there is not. Beneficiary. The person or organization legally entitled to receive gifts made under the provisions of a legal document such as a will or trust. Codicil. An amendment to a will. It is a separate legal document, properly witnessed and executed. Corpus. Property owned by the trust, commonly referred to as corpus of the trust. Death taxes. Amounts levied on the property of the deceased called estate taxes, federal, and inheritance, state, taxes. Durable power of attorney. A general power of attorney that will continue to be valid after its maker becomes incapacitated or incompetent. Durable healthcare power of attorney. A special power of attorney in which the maker gives another person authority to make healthcare decisions when the maker is unable to do so, due to injury or sickness. Estate. In general, all of the property you own when you die. Estate planning. The legal maneuvering by which one dies with the smallest taxable and probate estate possible, with the ability of passing on your property to your beneficiaries with the least amount of hassle and expense. Intestate. To die without a will or other valid estate transfer device. Estate will go through probate and be passed to heirs who are specified in the applicable state's laws. Irrevocable trust. A trust that cannot be changed, once established, except by court action in a proceeding referred to as reformation. Joint tenancy. A form of property ownership by two or more people where the death of one owner causes the transfer of that individual's share to go directly to the remaining owner. A will has no power to change the joint tenant's right of survivorship. This is another common tool used to avoid probate, although there may be gift tax consequences. Living trust. Trust established while the maker is alive and which becomes immediately effective. It remains under the control of the maker until death. It allows property to pass to beneficiaries free of probate. Living will. A document that provides instructions to physicians, healthcare providers, family, and courts as to what life-prolonging procedures are desired if a person should become terminally ill or be in a persistent vegetative state and unable to communicate. Personal property. All property other than land, buildings attached to the land and certain oil, gas, and mineral interests. Per stirpes. A legal term meaning that if a person dies, the inheritance will pass to heirs in equal shares. It means by right of representation. Pour over will. A will that transfers the decedent's assets that are subject to the will to a trust that was already in effect prior to the decedent's death. Power of attorney. A legal document whereby a person authorizes someone else to act for them. Probate. Court proceeding in which the authenticity of a will is established, an executor or administrator is appointed, debts and taxes are paid, heirs are identified and property in the probated estate is distributed according to the dictates of the will. Revocable trust. A trust that can be changed by the trust maker at any time. Living trusts are revocable trusts. Settler. Another name for a maker of the trust, also called trustor, grantor, or creator. Tenancy in common. A form of joint ownership of property. Each owner is able to sell or give away his or her share of property, as well as pass it along separately at death. There is no right of survivorship. Testacy. Dying with a valid will in place. All property controlled by the will passes through probate. Testamentary trust. A trust created by a valid will. Trust. A legal arrangement under which one person or institution controls property given by another person for the benefit of a third party. Trustee. The person who or institution which manages the trust and its property under specific instruction. Will. A legal document that is used to pass property to heirs following a person's death. A will only becomes effective at the death of its maker. Chapter 3. A Retirement Money Website Guide. Free Retirement Plan Guides. rbcroyalbank.com/retirement, free RBC, R, Retirement Guide. Aetna Retirement Services. 800 Aetna 60. 800 Aetna Go. aetnafinancial.com. Fidelity Investments. POB 193. Boston, Massachusetts 02210. 800-544-8888. 800-457-1768. Fidelity.com. Free booklet, A Step-by-Step Guide to Planning Your Retirement. Scudder Mutual Funds. 800-225-2470. Scudder.com. Free booklet, A Guide to Managing Your Retirement Plan Distribution. TiroPrice.com. 800-541-1472. 800-638-5660. Vanguard.com. 800-544-8888. Free booklets Getting to Your Goals and Retirement Planning Guide. Major senior money websites. AFG.org, the American Institute of Financial Gerontology, certifies financial planners for seniors. AARP.org/money. AARP.org/money/retirement, AARP, retirement, find articles, advice, and resources to help make retirement planning decisions. AARP.org/money/tax-IDE, AARP, Tax Aid. The AARP Tax Aid program has nearly 32,000 volunteers staffing 8,500 sites across the United States. These IRS-certified volunteers provide free tax counseling and preparation services to millions of low- and middle-income taxpayers, with special attention to those ages 60 and older. Benefits.gov. Benefits.gov connects citizens to government benefit program eligibility. BenefitsCheckup.org, National Council on Aging resource designed to identify benefit programs that can help you pay for medications, health care, food, utilities, and more. Caretaker.org, opportunities to take care of properties. dol.gov/ebss/10_ways_to_prepare.html, 10 ways to prepare for retirement. The Department of Labor provides ideas for retirement planning. Kipalinger.com/magazine/archives/retire-when-you-want.html, retire when you want. Kipalinger Personal Finance Magazine's article on retirement planning. Nalo.com/legal-encyclopedia/money-taxes-retirees, money and taxes for retirees. sec.gov/investors/seniors/seniorsguide.pdf, a guide for seniors, protecting yourself against investment fraud. Senior Money Websites 101retirement.com. aarp.org/mymoney/retirement. aarp.org/tax-IDE, 888-227-7669, help with taxes. aarp.org/money/financial_planning. aarp.org/tax-IDE/home, 888-227-7669, taxes for aarpfinancial.com. ab.com, rollover IRA plans. abcretirementplanning.com/directory. about-retirement.com. advancedseniorsolutions.com. agingcare.com/money-legal. allgenfinancial.com, retirement planning and financial advisors in Orlando, Florida. altamira.com, financial calculator. ameriprise.com, over 10,000 Ameriprise advisors annuities. apex-retirement-planning.com, arizona401k.com, armchairmillionaire.com, adaxplan.com, 800-247-6553. atosinvestments.com/retirementplanning.htmlaul.com/pension, bankofamerica.com/retirement center, bankrate.com, bmonespitburns.com, BMOS tools and calculators, boomerangst.cnbc.com, broadbenefits.com, Broad Benefits, Norman Broad and Associates, bygpub.com/finance/cashflowcalc.htm, cashflow calculator, calculators.aol.com/tools/aol/retire02a/tool.fcs, chinesemoneymarket.com/retirement-planning.html, cigna.com, clrica.com, financial calculator, dcs.scudder.com.